The problem I've faced is that I've ended up liking certain girls a great deal, but they have turned out to be selfish, cold, domineering, and narcissistic. But they were not that way in the beginning. They were quite charming and submissive and appealing to my emotions, which is why I selected them in the first place. But unfortunately I've consistently suffered from the 1-year drop. Their charm fades, they become comfortable, and then the real selfish, arrogant, dramatic, neurotic sides come out. I'm pretty much the same guy all the time. Until faced with disrespect. In the beginning they were much more influenced by my words and my power and complied with what I wanted. But after the 1-year drop, they become more dominant, more readily resistant to my power, and instead do whatever they wanted, whenever. While this can happen with narcissistic women, yes, it can also happen with any woman, even women untouched by narcissism. This is not solely a problem with the woman. It's quite often a problem with the relationship. That is to say, what often happens with men is a general, gradual decline of respect in that relationship, where women come to view a partner they originally saw as powerful, dominant, sexual, and strong, as possessing less and less of these qualities, and more of their, distinctly unappealing, opposites. The relationship falls apart and fails because the woman has stopped respecting the man, even if he hasn't changed a bit. Respect in a relationship. There's no such thing as equality, not in a relationship, anyway. And neither men nor women want it. Ask any woman on the street if she'd be excited about dating a man who makes the same amount of money she does, works the same job she does, is no more or less intelligent than she is about equivalently sexy to her, has had the same number of relationship and sex partners as she has, and is about equal to her in terms of social and interpersonal dominance. Basically, her, with a penis. Would she like to date this person? The answer's no, of course. The idea is unexciting and a bit off-putting. He's no better than her, only just the same as her. What's the point of being with him? Ask a man walking down the street the same question, about dating a woman equivalent to him in all ways. He might say, yeah, sure, just as he'd say, yeah, sure, to you offering him a chance to date any woman. Men aren't quite so picky in general, but he may well also feel a little intimidated, and a little pessimistic about the relationship, and tell you, nah, not really, she sounds a little too demanding for me. Now ask that woman on the street how she'd feel about dating a man who makes more money than her, works a higher prestige job with a better position than her, is a bit smarter than her, has somewhat more relationship and sex experience, and is somewhat more socially and interpersonally dominant than her. Would she be interested in dating him? The answer, of course, is a resounding yes. Just as men tend to prefer to date women a bit less than them, women somewhat making less money, with somewhat less prestigious careers, who are a bit less smart than they are, who are a bit less experienced relationship and sex-wise, and are somewhat less dominant than they are. What gives? Why do women prefer men better than them in a number of areas? And why do men prefer women who don't quite stack up as their equals? Women love dominance. They want dominant, powerful, sexual, masculine men. They love dominant men. They're addicted to them. Not cartoonish dominance, where a guy orders them around like a pissed-off drill sergeant. Well, some women get off on that, but not most. But, rather, powerful, firm, controlled dominance. A man who knows what he wants, what he stands for, what he will and won't tolerate. A man who's decisive and resolute. A man who maintains. This is because women occupy the follower role in a romantic relationship, typically. When a woman occupies the leader role, she usually grows quickly bored with the man, and/or views him as rather weak. This can lead to breaking up, it can lead to cheating, and it often leads to disrespect. Respect in a relationship is maintained when male dominance is maintained. This is necessary for relationship control to stay in the man's corner. Because while women may not necessarily want to have to be the leader and get stuck making all the decisions in the relationship, women do very much want to avoid being led about by a man who isn't leading well, is making poor choices, is weak, uncertain, or prone to changing his mind, is not looking out for their best interests, is only concerned with his own. And so, to test his strength and dominance and leadership and masculinity, and to see whether he is still the leader in the relationship they need or whether he is not all he appeared, or used to be, women test men. They cause relationship drama. They poke, probe, inspect, and detect. And the outcomes of these efforts have very distinct impacts on their feelings about their partners. When a woman tests a man and finds him firm, strong, dominant, powerful, and masculine, she becomes more feminine. She falls in love with him harder and more deeply, becomes more sexually attracted to him and turned on by him, submits herself more and places her life more firmly in his hands, becomes more comfortable and feels more secure with him, behaves more feminine around him. On the other hand, when a woman tests a man and finds him flimsy, weak, hesitant, unsure, and unmasculine, she becomes more masculine. She falls out of love with him progressively more, becomes increasingly turned off sexually around him, exerts independence and takes charge more and more around him, becomes less trusting, comfortable, and secure around him, behaves more masculine around him. If you liked the video so far and want to know about the scientific content of relationship, don't forget to subscribe. Respect in a relationship is entirely dependent on whether a woman sees her man as the man, or whether she sees him as just another Joe Blow who ain't really getting the job done all that well. Why respect dries up. Respect in a relationship. So now, okay, you've got that. Respect is a product of how much a woman feels she can trust you as her leader in a relationship. Why would it be there in the beginning, only to dry up later? When a relationship is new, there's often not a whole lot of testing going on. The initial testing was whether you could actually get this girl in bed or not. The fact that you did shows her that you're far more of a man than all those friend zone nice guys chasing after her fruitlessly, spinning their wheels and going nowhere fast. And the faster you got her in bed with you, the more of a man you are, and the less early relationship drama you're likely to face. Took her to bed the day or night you met her? Had yourself some first date sex? You'll be placed firmly in the upper level of her pantheon of manly men. However, as the relationship progresses, and the honeymoon period winds down, women begin to test you more and more for your suitability as a long-term partner. A girl wants to know that if she sticks it out with you, this is a wise choice. Are you really man enough to lead her in a relationship? So she starts that poking and probing and testing and detecting, and this is where some men slip up. This is where, I'd guess, our reader DJoms has been struggling in his relationships. It's a pretty common place for men to stumble, relationship-wise. And when you stumble and act uncertain and aren't firm and let things pass that should not be let pass, just like a child probing a new teacher as the weeks go by and deciding that a teacher is too soft and does not deserve his respect, so too do women lose respect in a relationship for you. Respect dries up not because she's a devil woman who was hiding her true nature under a veil of sweetness. It is, rather, because she was being sweet when she was still in love. But when she began to test you and find that you didn't hold up with the image she had of you in her mind, that in-love feeling quickly went away, to be replaced with one of, how on earth did I end up with this guy? A relationship power shift follows not long after. Respect in a relationship. A pair of female researchers from Illinois State University published a paper in 1989 entitled Development of the Romantic Belief Scale, an examination of the effects of gender and gender role orientation, that determined the following about men's levels of romanticism versus women's. Through a program of research, a scale was developed to measure beliefs that have been identified in the literature as constituting an ideology of romanticism. The final scale items were selected and subjected to several reliability and validity tests in a survey study conducted with 730 undergraduate students. The results provided strong support for the validity and reliability of the romantic belief scale as well as for the four beliefs comprising the scale: love finds a way, one and only, idealization, and love at first sight. Furthermore, romanticism was found to be related to gender and gender role orientation. Men were generally more romantic than women, and femininity was a stronger predictor of romanticism than was masculinity. These findings are discussed as a function of both social structure and personal predispositions. So in general, men are more romantic than women. And, as ugly and non-romantic as it might sound to say it out, the level of someone's romanticism is nearly always tied directly to his or her degree and type of abundance mentality. Example, a man who never gets women at all is romantic with all women he'd date. A man who gets women but rarely girlfriend quality women is mostly romantic only with girlfriends. And a man who has his pick of the litter even among high caliber women is mostly not romantic. But an imbalance of romanticism also means an imbalance of concern for the relationship. And that means an imbalance of devotion to the relationship. And this is what spells doom for so many men's respect in relationships. Respect in a relationship. There's no excuse for ever turning into Robin Williams's character in your relationships. You should never be flip-flopping, changing tunes, attacking and retreating, or chasing. These are the woman's roles. They are the roles of the follower in the relationship. And women do not want followers. Followers might make them feel a little secure, yay, he's never going to leave me, probably. But they don't rev their engines. In fact, even the security they give is false. When a man is a follower, it's because he is weak. It's because he's too afraid of losing the woman to enforce his will on the relationship and demand what he wants. A woman doesn't want a man who fears losing her. She wants a man who wants to be with her because he likes her and because she treats him right. Would you want a woman who stuck around with you if she thought you weren't treating her right? No, you wouldn't, right? A woman like that doesn't have a great deal of self-respect, does she? This is multiplied many times for women. You're supposed to be the leader in the relationship. You are the man, you must lead. The leader doesn't get pushed around. What it all comes down to is you must be able to walk away at the drop of a hat and not blink. If you can do that, you can run the healthiest, happiest, most honest relationships in the world with women, and give them the relationships of their lives. And if you can't, if you aren't at that place just yet, if that isn't yet you, then you aren't ready for a long-term, settled relationship yet. You still have more work to do in learning how to get girls, friend. So get out there. Get your skills set down. Don't just aim for abundance, aim for absolute abundance. Get yourself to the point where the women you want most as girlfriends are a piece of cake for you to get. If you can reach that point, not only will you have assured continued respect in all your future relationships, but you'll have transformed yourself into a skilled, compelling, interesting, attractive man, as well. And that's never a bad deal. I am Majid 2006, thank you for watching the video till the end. Now, if you want to be successful in romantic relationships and know more, subscribe to my channel. I made many tutorials for you. I will kiss you, my dear.